Well, sources are telling CBS News that the man charged with gunning down United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson could plead guilty today. Luigi Mangione is facing charges of stalking in connection with killing on the New York City street 2 years ago. We want to take a live look outside the courthouse this morning, where Mangione is set to appear in court in about less than an hour. You see they got some barricades set up. It looks like some extra security this morning. Sources tell CBS News discussions between federal prosecutors and defense attorneys have been ongoing. It's not clear, though, if an agreement has been reached.
Joining us to discuss the latest developments in this case is lawyer and former federal prosecutor Neama Rahmani. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Oh, thanks for having me, Jamie, Shiva, as always.
Okay, so as Shiva was just saying, a lot of this is speculation. Many people don't know if the deal's actually gotten done.
Right.
Some say that he could actually, even if he's saying he's going to take the plea, that may not happen. He could rescind it. This sounds chaotic. What are we actually facing here this morning?
I think we're going to see a plea. There's a lot of smoke there. The question is he pleading pursuant to a plea agreement, or is he pleading open to the indictment? Of course, you can always just plead guilty. And the reason he can plead guilty is the federal case is really gutted. The firearms charges, the murder charges, they've been dismissed. So all Mangione is facing in federal court are just 2 stalking counts. Now, they carry a potential life sentence in federal prison, but they're certainly not as serious as those murder charges, which he's facing in state court.
No, absolutely. And of course, people have been following this case. It's a very high profile one, but I'm not sure people fully understand the 2 different cases. There is the federal case that we're talking about this morning. There's also the state case. And as you mentioned, some of the charges in this federal case were dropped. So kind of break down for people what's happening in state, in federal, and why it's all separate.
So you can have parallel state and federal prosecutions. Of course, probably the most famous case where that happened was Rodney King. But more recently, for the murder of George Floyd, Derek Chauvin was prosecuted in both state and federal court. They're considered dual sovereign, so it doesn't generally violate double jeopardy, with one important exception. In New York, and this is something that's unique to New York state law, there can't be a subsequent or a second state prosecution if the crime is the same transaction or occurrence. So why does that matter? Expect the defense in this particular case, Sheba, to argue that the stalking in federal court is the same transaction or occurrence as the murder that Mangione is facing in state court.
Right.
If so, there's the possibility that today's federal plea will actually get those state charges dismissed.
Yeah, the defense team has argued that. They feel like he is being tried twice. Do you think they have a valid argument there?
Again, it's something unique to New York state law. Here in California, absolutely not. That would not fly. But again, because New York has this very specific law, I think they have a chance. And the time that this happened very recently was actually someone named Paul Manafort. He was Trump's campaign manager. He was prosecuted by a federal jury in Virginia. Then there was concerns that Trump was going to pardon him. So the New York district attorney, the prior district attorney, Cyrus Vance Jr., ended up filing state charges in New York. And a young lawyer named Todd Blanche ended up defending Paul Manafort, making the same argument, saying that New York's double jeopardy law prevents the second prosecution. And guess what? Those New York state courts agreed, and the state case against Paul Manafort was dismissed.
Wow, look where we are now.
Right.
Neama, both the state and federal cases, as you've been talking about, have narrowed over time. In January, a federal judge dismissed 2 other charges in the federal case. Can you just explain to people, you've broken it down a little bit here, but what does it say about these cases and just the strength of them?
Jamie, it really goes to show how good Mangione's defense team is. You're talking about Karen Friedman, Mark Ignifilo, who famously represented Sean Diddy Combs in his sex trafficking case. So some of the most serious charges in both cases were dismissed. I'll start with the state case. Mangione was charged with first-degree murder because of terrorism. And the judge said that, you know what? Mangione decided to kill Brian Thompson, the United Healthcare CEO, for his own purposes, not to intimidate or to influence the public. So he knocked those terrorism charges out, which reduced murder from first degree to second degree in New York State court. And in federal court, the judge ruled that stalking isn't a categorical crime of violence. That's important because there was no federal jurisdiction for either the murder or the firearms charges, and those cases were dismissed, really gutting that federal case and just leaving the 2 stalking counts that remain today and what we expect Mangione to plead to this morning.
Okay, well, thank you for breaking this down. We're going to be watching throughout the morning, and I'm sure we'll check in with you again when there's an update. Neama, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks, Sheila.
All right.
Talk soon.
Thank you, Neema.